What's up, Bird Brains? The Eagles are 2-0 and sloppily, wonderfully. And thank God for this 10-day layoff so they can fix this fucking offense. John Barchard, Vince Quinn, Taylor Kredatus all here. Golf clap to Taylor Kredatus cashing in on the plus 330. DeAndre Swift anytime touchdown, by the way. We are sweating that one out together in the Discord. You can join us there for basically every live game. We're all yelling and screaming at each other. Vince Quinn. Man, DeAndre Swift is the man, first and foremost. Who is Miles Sanders? That is my question.
Yeah, look, they lose that game if Miles Sanders is starting running back. They just do. I like. There's no other way to put it. They just lose that game if Miles is the guy. I mean, it's crazy because like here's the biggest thing about that game that made it so fascinating. Right? Is like a lot of times you don't want to give the opposing team credit for doing shit well, but like Brian Flores is a mastermind, dude. And he went into that game and he was like, you know what? I'm going to have 6 guys like on the line of scrimmage every single play. Mm-hmm. And when he didn't have 6, he had 8. Super aggressive. And when you get that kind of lineup, I mean, it felt like a lot of these runs, they weren't even runs. They were like mini punt returns. Like if you were doing a punt return on a 20-yard field, you know what I mean? It was just like all these bodies right up against each other, just busting each other up. And Swift to be able to find those lanes and juking around and running through people and falling forward for a guy that size, it doesn't happen. It's not a thing. Like he looked like an absolute superstar tonight. And to get that big run at the end and then cap it off with a touchdown at the end of the game, I mean, just an absolute masterpiece from him, from the offensive line. They were really great for most of the day. They had problems in pass protection early, but once you got to the second half of this game, I mean, Hurts is just sitting back and, you know, getting sacked and like not making a lot of great throws. Yeah. So like not really having a good game and looking like shit. And we'll talk about that. But I mean, dude, just overall offensive line really figured it out. Absolutely amazing. Unbelievable from them. DeAndre Swift, a bona fide superstar tonight.
And on the Flores thing, I know Vince Quinn, you probably won't understand this at all, but Taylor Kredatus especially will. What interested me the most about how they came out is exactly how Wisconsin and Georgia attacks the RPO. Is exactly that. It's that 6-line front that's in and out. It's swirling back and forth. And can I just say, it kills me every single time. This is the second game in a row, and I know it's only 4 days later. And what can you really adjust? But goddamn, those sons of bitches were wiggling around, basically telling Jalen Hurts what they're going to be doing, and like still just like a bunch of dumbasses. They're going to run the same play, and Brian Flores was on top of their ass early, so I was sweating real quick. So thank God for that offensive line. Indeed, just wanted to point that out real quick.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Flores was getting after it, man. I mean, for all that stuff, it was really aggressive up front. And then whenever Jalen was trying to run anything, they were closing on that so quick. I mean, there was 8-9 guys in the box all the time. And like, I mean, on some of those plays too, they were blitzing with 8 guys on first down. Like, they did that a couple of times. So it was just like a super aggressive thing. They said, you're running with Hurts a lot. We see this tendency. We're going to attack it. And in a short week with a first-time offensive coordinator, it was a smart thing to do. I mean, like, here's the one thing I'll say that Brian Johnson did that was good was...
Didn't text Bill Belichick? No? I don't know. Sorry.
That was a great look. That was a great line. That was a great line by you. Best thing that he did was he stopped running Jalen Hurts in the second half of this game. Like he was like, oh yeah, this is bad and it's not working and we should totally stop this. Which brings me, by the way, because like, look, Hurts sucked. He had a terrible interception. Everything about him looks miserable. Like he is not happy. I think the fundamental problem with this team is he is not willing to confront Brian Johnson about not being happy with the offense. I don't think he wants to say it.
You think so?
I guarantee it. As much as I'm an outsider, I just none of it feels right. I don't think he like. Why is he jumpy week 1 if he's not believing in this offense?
I feel that I'm going to stick to my guns on this. This is still a Nick Sirianni problem for the same reason I just said. You know, like, and maybe that's true that like they have too good of a relationship, and that might explain some of the. I don't know if you saw the AJ, Hurts outbursts on the sideline that the camera kind of caught up. You know, Devontae's getting all this love. DeAndre Swift's getting all this love. AJ had a touchdown get called back because of Rashad Penny on a bullshit holding call. So I don't know what's all going into this, but I will pay attention to that theory for you, Vince Quinn, because like I think it might have legs. There's something going on, and I still don't know why Jalen is. Well, I know why he's fleeing his pocket all the time. I mean, that's just a bad habit of his, and I think that's part of what his problem is. I also think that like unfortunately, when me and Tyre were doing a quick episode that didn't get aired, but like I was kind of implying that like I don't know, do you think that it's just possible that Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, and I'll just throw Brian Johnson into this too, are just at their plateau? Like that's all that they're capable of at this point in time. There is no evolution here, you know.
No, I mean, I think they've gone completely backwards because of Brian Johnson. It's completely his fault. I mean, like he fundamentally, with the way they're calling plays and the situations that they're doing it, that first red zone situation at the beginning of this game, the halftime, just going into halftime, and they got so lucky the way that they did with the sequencing and just the overall strategy of it just didn't make any goddamn sense. I don't think he understands why Jalen Hurts is valuable as a runner. And mostly, he's valuable because of the threat of him running more than him actually running. As great as he is as a runner, it's just the impact that he's going to have on a defense when they have to consider that the ball's going to go this way or that way because he's going to hold it or keep it or give it away, and he can pass over whatever reactions he's getting, and he can make the smart reads. They're not setting things up for that. And everything that he's doing, he's making the read, and then he's dropping back 3 yards. So it's not even like you're going to get that same kind of advantage. You're now resetting the play, essentially, as he's making all those drops back. So I don't think it makes any sense. I don't think it works. They're doing too many plays. As much as I say run Hurts like crazy, you're supposed to call the plays where he's the option to run, but you're not actually calling designed runs for him all the time. And they seem to be doing that a lot. So I really don't think he gets it. I put this all on Brian Johnson.
You don't think this is misreading I mean, in the first half, I felt like Jalen was misreading a bunch of RPOs, really bad. Like I don't know why he pulled down on a few of them, to be honest with you, and kind of created his own losses. Like I don't think that this is a Brian Johnson problem. Like what is different about their offense in the last 4 to 5 days that they weren't running for the last 2 years? I've not seen one new concept from Brian Johnson, if that's the case, or like if there's this new implementation that's going on. To me, it looks like this is the classic Nick Sirianni. We can grip it and rip it at any point in time, except the first 2 defenses that he plays are playing fucking 3 linemen 8 deep or 4 and 7, and they're going, we're not going to let you throw to AJ Brown. And I think that's part of like, that is definitely part of it. Vince, they went right back to the stupid bullshit Arizona Cardinals offensive game plan from last year. Side to side. Where's Dallas Goedert for 2 yards? There's that. Like, they have no idea how to check down, how to use levels or any of that when defenses present that challenge to them, because they're going to put it in Jalen's decision-making hands first and foremost, and then what's his read after that? Like I'm even saying Jalen Hurts is completely capable of reading defenses. So I want to make sure I'm very clear when I say this next statement, but I'm not sure where his capability is at. And you match that together with Nick Sirianni's offensive prowess right now, then you throw in a new offensive coordinator. Shit, it's probably going to look like that for the first couple of weeks. And I'm not panicking over this. This is probably expected. Like this is right after a Super Bowl loss. Everybody's hyped up. There's new blood in here, but these guys have been just, like they're the second most tired team on the planet right now, heading into this with no preseason. And, people are going to argue about that forever. People are going to say, run the fucking ball now for like a million years, which is just going to drive me nuts. So we can enjoy that for 10 days. But I really think that this is just, there's no offensive involvement with Nick Sirianni. Haven't seen it in 3 years.
Well, he doesn't need to evolve anything. It's a Super Bowl offense. It doesn't need to evolve.
That's what Doug Peterson said, and he got fucking fired.
Well, Doug fell off a cliff. Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of we could. Look. I was the first guy that was out on Doug.
I know,
was out.
I know. I'm just
yeah,
reminding us. This is very similar. Fucking Jake Elliott hits a 61-yarder. All right. I'm thinking of different Super Bowl years, but yes.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, and he did, and he's a badass. That guy's a bad. Like, if you're gonna compare to anything in the past, this is the 2016, I think it was, Chip Kelly year. It was like 15 or 16 where they won like 4 games because their special teams and defense were just out of control good. So
14,
Jake Elliott hitting 61 yarders and them getting like 4 turnovers in this game, that's going to do it. So that's what's won them 2 games.
I'm going to bring that up right now. Doesn't that feel like this right now?
Yeah, it does.
Feels like it to me.
Yeah, it totally does, because here's the problem. Brian Johnson is running an offense right now that the best comparable I've got is Zach Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett. So when that's the kind of offense that you're running right now, it's not really a good compliment for this team. It is right now, and he is early, so I'm not trying to completely bury this guy, but right now, seeing the quality of players that they've got and the offense that they're producing, given all the continuity of everything else, it looks like you've got a 3-star Michelin chef, and he's cooking you a meal, but he's blackout drunk. And I don't know what to do with that. Like, I can't. It's like I expect so much more from all the things that I'm seeing, and it's not there. Because
I'll do you one better on this, because now you really got my wheels turning. Was this Jalen Hurts' call to have him in there? As opposed to, because then it kind of more or less fits with your theory of like, well, if he's being too nice about it, it's kind of what he asked for. And, maybe that's rubbing AJ the wrong way.
But I don't know. Ultimately, I think here's what happened. They decided, Johnson has been in the building. That was part of this whole thing that you called years ago with what they were trying to do with Hurts and build this whole system around him. And they did that. And now he's here and he's the guy and Johnson's with them. So they've progressed together. But when the offense doesn't work at all, and you see that, I mean, I would have figured he was calling a lot of things that were based on the idea of Jalen actually running it and being the main option, like all the time in the preseason or in training camp and things like that. So if they're not confident in that, but you're not running it in the preseason, you don't know until it's a regular season game. Well, now you're going, oh shit. And the symptoms are things like AJ Brown not getting in any kind of rhythm whatsoever and getting pissed off. Like, I don't think he's mad at Jalen for putting Brian Johnson in the job. Like, I just think it's Brian Johnson sucks at the job right now. And so until he doesn't suck, AJ's mad because all these, there's no balance to anything. There's no rhyme or reason or methodology to anything. There's no rhythm.
But there wasn't to begin with anyway. All right. And this is where, like, I just think of last year, and it kind of does lead into that really bad. You played a lot of bad defenses against a lot of incredibly talented athletes, and that was like a coming out party for Jalen Hurts, right? And this was always my fear kind of leading into this season is like, great, now there's tape on all this, and what did you do differently? It seems like you're trying to play catch up and say, hey, Brian Johnson, this is our bread and butter. This is what Shane used to do. And this is what I like to do. And this is what we're going to do for the first 2 games of the season. Then we'll figure it out after that. Like I cannot point again. I'll ask you, and I'll ask Vince, and I'll ask Taylor, anybody, 215-509-5833. If you want to text us, jump us in the Discord at Bell and the Bird, pretty much everywhere. What new thing is in Nick Sirianni's offense since Jalen Hurts has been a part of it?
Since Jalen Hurts, well, I mean, they've changed it a couple of times. They went from a super pass happy offense to a massively running offense. They did that in the first year. Then they had
but this is it reverted right back to that. It came out and said, let's go
a pass. They can't call it. They have no idea what they're doing in the passing game right now. Like, here, the
that's
problem
a Nick Sirianni problem because Stoutland runs the fucking run game.
No, it's a Brian Johnson problem. He can't do the basics. So how can he add new shit when he can't do the simple shit? Like, again, I don't think he understands the value of Hurts running the ball. I legitimately don't think he understands.
I disagree with that.
Nothing
completely.
He's doing right now shows me that he understands the actual value, which is the threat, more than him actually doing it. No.
You even said yourself, Jalen Hurts is still best asset is those legs, and like, I am gonna I just don't think he made the right reads today. Really don't. Like, I don't know what is Brian Johnson supposed to do? Oh, it's the threat of Jalen Hurts running. Like, what concepts, what plays are we talking about then?
Short, easy, over the middle, like it just rollouts, just like give them bootlegs and stuff, move them around. They're not doing that, and so when you're not seeing anything like that, like how many balls have they thrown over the middle so far in these 2 games? Like 2.
I mean, I don't know. And you're never going to get bootlegs because he's never under fucking center. That's what I mean. It's always a shotgun read. So I don't see Brian Johnson's fingerprints, fuck ups, or anything on this. This is Nick Sirianni's offense, and he's trying to do the best he can. He probably had a better relationship with. He obviously did. He had a better relationship with Shane Steichen. Shane knows what he likes better. He can probably, just like you and me, like you understand my bullshit probably better than anybody on the planet, right? So like, there's a communication thing that says like, oh, I know what he means there. And with Brian Johnson, maybe Nick Sirianni's just going, and he's pointing, and I'm like, I don't know, I guess this, like, fuck, what do you need, man?
Yeah, I think Johnson's totally overwhelmed, and he's going to need some time. Again, my biggest credit is he stopped telling Hurts to actually be the main runner on plays in the second half of the game, and that's the best thing I got. Otherwise, it was just Swift. Which, by the way, side note before we get to the defense. They fucking hate Penny, dude. They hate Penny. Can we be honest? They fucking hate this guy. I mean, Kenny Gainwell was this. What's that take?
What's to like?
Like, what's to like?
Yeah, they don't like anything. I've hated this from the jump, so I was ready for this to die, but I didn't think it'd be this bad. I mean, dude, Boston Scott injured, Kenny Gainwell injured, Swift with 28 carries tonight. It took him literally pulling himself out of the game for Penny to get on the field.
Well, but
they do not like this guy.
I don't think that's it at all, because here's another thing I don't understand about this stupid offense's logic. You ran Kenny Gainwell 18 times 4 days ago, and you run Swift twice. Now you run Swift 25 times?
28.
28 times, Boston Scott 6, and Penny. I think they're trying to give, when Nick Sirianni was describing, I want to do running back by drive, I think they had in mind, like, I'm going to have a different RB1 each game and just pace these guys out game by game like they're defensive rotating linemen, except like you're going to be the star because who cares, our offensive lineman rocks, except like, you killed Kenny Gainwell. They killed Kenny. And then they then they killed Boston out of nowhere. So now you're down to 2 running backs and 3 linebackers after having a full room, right? Yeah, it's not great.
Well, when that changed? When Brian Johnson became the offensive coordinator, that's when it changed. Come on.
Then what's to blame were all the defensive injuries and all that other crap? I mean, they got banged up. Avonte Maddox probably. I didn't even read the reports, but I instantly said in the Discord it looked like a separated shoulder, only because I know the wincing feeling. But it was bad. Who else got hurt? By the way, there's a couple other ding ups, aren't there?
Well, I mean, just for the defense overall. I mean, you go into the game without Bradbury and Blankenship anyway, and then you've got Nakobe Dean is out of this game. Maddox leaves the game. You're starting, backup linebackers. You're starting backup corners, more or less for the whole game. Like, it's crazy, man. I mean, like, Joby had Job. We're correcting it. Job. It's biblical. I just have to think of him biblically. So Job. Had 2 brutal plays, man. I mean, he really kept this a game single-handedly. God awful tackle on the Addison play, just totally let Osborne walk into the end zone wide open. Just gave him the whole
Goodrich with the leading up to that beforehand too. Yeah, there's just but I gotta say, even though, and we can get back to Brian Johnson if you want. I'm sorry to derail us with the injuries there, but Sean Desai has been pretty damn good, man, despite all the stuff that's in there. So Shio Kapadia from 2 games in. You're wrong. I'm so happy that Jonathan Gannon's out. Sean Desai's been pretty awesome. I love his concepts. I love their aggressiveness. And Kirk Cousins is still pretty bad. So, good game plan overall from him.
Well, it's funny too for Cousins because like everything, he had 4 touchdowns tonight and like no picks, and he played a pretty damn good game. But everything else around him just fell apart. Like,
yeah, that's what's so crazy is like this could have gone easily the other way, like without the bullshit turnovers. And there was a lot of bullshit turnovers. Yeah,
dude,
like
there was a lot. I mean, look, the Justin Jefferson fumble in the end zone is the play of the game. That's it.
And may I say, I'm so glad it went in the Eagles' favor. However, loss it down, take it out on the 20. Please, God, amend that rule. It is so bad.
Yeah, it's a brutal rule. But look, dude, yeah, for him to have that, I mean, at that point, it would have been 14-10 Vikings at the end of the second quarter. Like, that's a whole different dynamic, man. I mean, that was a huge sequence of events. What was that other one? There was that one whole exchange in like the third quarter where it was going to be a touchdown, and then it got called back, and then Hurts got sacked a couple times, and they punted the ball, and like they really could have.
The AJ touchdown.
Yeah. I guess that was it. It was then. So like everything that happened there, the Eagles got pretty lucky with all of that because they didn't play a good game. Covey almost fumbled the ball away. Ringo got onto that one. Good for him. He had a nice special teams tackle later. He was all over the place. He's wearing a better number now. He was like 38 in the preseason, which is a total joke. He upgraded from 38 to 22, which is like total sexy librarian kind of upgrade in a short amount of time. Good for him. And then
Asante Samuel Jr. Or Asante Samuel, the sexy librarian. I didn't even know.
There we go. Yeah, we love our sexy librarians here. So like, yeah, I don't know. Just with some of that stuff, I'm trying to think. Madison had a fumble in this one. Like they were just bad, man. Like the fumble after that massive punt return. They had returned. They were going to be like the Eagles 30, and they dropped that one. Man, Evans had a couple of recoveries and was involved in a lot of shit tonight. So like, I don't know. It was just completely crazy. But looking at the defense, dude, Josh Sweat was a monster tonight. Caused the sack fumble. That was recovered by Cox. Who else, dude? All right, you're gonna love this. I'm gonna make you really excited to hear it. Jordan Davis is a fucking monster now.
Yeah, he is.
Fucking monster now. It took him a year to get all of his shit in line, but now, dude, like, here's the biggest thing for me that really turned it. There was a point, I think it was in the first half, where it's like 3rd and 8, and he's in there. And it's like, okay, well, this is clearly a pass rushing down, and they're putting him in there. And you know what? He immediately blew up that play, forced Cousins to get a ball out really quick, and I think it was an incompletion. It was just like, yeah, he's the truth now. So it's awesome to see that he's got all that all together now because he was a non-factor last year for the most part. Like, let's be honest, he didn't really do much. So he's going to be a fucking problem. And when he's keeping Jalen Carter off the field and Carter looks that good, I mean, it's crazy, man. I mean, it's a testament to all these guys because, like, sure, I'm talking about Davis keeping off Carter, but like Fletcher Cox is making plays these last couple of games. This guy's like 33 years old. You know what I mean? He's not a young dude. And there's every reason for the Eagles to put him on the back burner and let the young kids play. But he's earned his spot there. He keeps getting the snaps, and he should be the starter. So, like, it's just cool to see how dynamic it is in all those different places. I mean, we're not even talking about Hassan Reddick, and it hasn't mattered.
Yeah, it's a great point because it's you're just getting to the – Hassan's coming back from his injury. Like, it's great that Fletch was able to go in this one because I know he was banged up from the Patriots game and it didn't really show that much. If Hassan starts to click, man, those sack totals are going to go up really fast because if you have Jordan Davis and Carter and Fletcher Cox coming in there at 20% full head of steam, 30%, whatever it ends up being, the middle of the pocket's going to break and have Brandon Graham type feast sacks all the time for you. It's that's the exciting part. And probably something that I now can say I didn't look into that much when Lane Johnson was saying this in the offseason about all these different guys and mentioning all this stuff. I don't think I saw Nolan Smith get a snap tonight. My eyes deceived me on that one because it just seems like he's the only one that's probably going to be. I don't know what his role is going to be yet. He's the more interesting one that I'm waiting to see how they kind of get him in there. But outside of that, this is I'd go toe to toe with this defensive rotation with pretty much anybody. Like it's lethal, unbelievably lethal because of Jalen, because of Jordan, and I can't wait to see more of them.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%, man. It's going to be cool to see how all this goes. I didn't have too much stock in Nolan Smith this year. I think he's fun, but He's got to get into an NFL body, man. I just think he's got to get a little bit bigger, and it's probably going to take a year for him to do that. But you don't need him to do anything right now, and that's the beauty of it. So, like, seeing that all these different guys, these depth guys, because, like, they could have easily gotten smoked in this game by the Vikings offense, man. I mean, like, Hawkinson and all the space that he got early, he was a real problem. Then he wasn't a problem for really half of this game. Like, it was like first quarter he's a problem, and then he's not. You don't see him again really till the last 3 minutes of the game. So they were able to shut all that stuff down. Jefferson had a ton of big catches, but they weren't for like massive yardage. He didn't cripple them. It was just they had two really god-awful plays, and they had some decent drives. But like that's with backup secondary. I mean, half of their secondary was reserve players. It's just like it's amazing how deep this team is still, even with all the changes from last year. So like they just continue to nail it. They're crazy talented. They're going to be able to keep winning games like this to some degree because they don't need to be perfect. I mean, they played like shit and they put up 34 points.
Yeah, we keep saying this stuff, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, I am, and you're right a little bit, but this offense has a major problem with it. And I don't know what it is. If you want to go on Vince's train and say it's Brian Johnson, so be it for right now. But this is a huge issue. This offense is not going to click like it did last year. I don't think that's an overreaction after 2 weeks. Just don't. It's like it's ridiculous. This is ridiculous. It should not be moving this slow or this clunky or this bad. That's my biggest takeaway is this is not going to feel great. And by the way, we're only 2 games in and people are already starting to question Jalen Hurts. I fucking told you this city wants to kill the quarterback once he gets paid, and they're going to do it this year. You're going to hear so much Hurts 2021 for the next 10 days. I'm legitimately concerned that Hurts is regressing into his 21 stuff. And this was stuff that was already there last year. Because they went to the Super Bowl, he's top 5. But fucking coming out of the pocket on his own all the time, having to feed his friend A.J. Brown, having to, I don't know, make better friends with Brian Johnson. I have no idea. Or not afraid to criticize him, whatever it is. Like, this is a lot of different voices on the offense right now. It's what it feels like to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, for all the changes that they're going through, like changing offensive coordinator is a big deal, especially because even though Sirianni is an offensive coach, Brian Johnson is calling the plays. I mean, so it's going to take time. But like, think about the next couple of weeks, right? Here's the beauty of this: Buccaneers. Okay, in 10 days, you have the Buccaneers, then you have the Commanders. Then you have the Rams. We'll be in LA and we'll be at that game. You can come out with us and it's going to be great. Jets without Aaron Rodgers. And then you get the Dolphins. So, I mean, you've got 1, 2, 3. You got 5 weeks to figure this out. Like they have time to get this together before they play a real game again. So it's nice to have that. The margin of error is there.
Taylor Kredatus, where are we at with Jalen Hurts rushing touchdowns? He had did he have 2 today?
He had 2 tonight.
Yep. So
he had that one in the second half, third quarter. That was right after I put in the DeAndre Swift anytime touchdown, which he was a half yard of getting to, but luckily he got it in the fourth quarter. So that saved a little nightmare from me. Just, usual stat hog narrative. Still pushing that.
Which is exactly why I brought it up, because I believe he just needs 3 now in those games that Vince just mentioned before he plays the Jets. If he gets 3 more rushing touchdowns, he's officially broken Cam Newton's record to that many on the ground. So Stat Hawk lives for sure. That's why they gave him the push early and not DeAndre Swift when he took him all the way down there. So they're paying attention.
I mean, he's always getting the push.
Yeah. Now, Vince Quinn, I'm going to be ridiculously sports radio and even say this. Did Jalen have too much fucking fun this offseason? Were there too many goddamn interviews? And this is what it is.
Hulu commercial.
Shit,
Jordan Brand.
Yeah.
The typical Cole Hamels. This was fun, and I should have. Whoopsie daisy.
They had a write up on him on Time Magazine it was a Peyton Manning piece about him.
Yeah.
So
we're saying all this shit like Tom Brady, like Michael Jordan, like, and then maybe it just smacked us in the face a little. Maybe it's just as simple as that.
I mean, look, he might be talking it a little bit more than he's been living it lately. That is possible. But I still think it's mostly a Johnson problem, and he's just not comfortable. I mean, he doesn't look great.
Joe, there's no Johnson problems on this show, sir. All right, continue.
Ladies, anyway, so, like, yeah, here's the one thing I'll say for the people that doubt Hurts still. You see it with the legs. It is undeniable. And the times when it actually makes sense, it is really good. He had that one time where he got around the edge and he got like 8 yards on a third down. He's just like, he can be a killer there. But that throw to Smith, man, where he got speared on that. And he took that hit square on, lands it 60 yards down the field or whatever he did. Perfect placement, in stride, easy touchdown. That's a killer play.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really killer big-time play, and he did do that. So as much as he had some mistakes tonight, he had an underthrown ball to Smith that he went up and got. Like, that kind of throw is the kind of thing that you look at and just go, holy shit, this guy can still do it.
And apologize if we've basically already said it, but we might as well end on a really good note. Like Devontae Smith, holy shit, man. You were right on the Hall of Fame track. That dude is unbelievably good. And A.J. Brown got so jealous that he yelled at his friend Jalen Hurts about it tonight. That's how good he is. No, I don't know. Don't print that. But, dude, that guy has lived up to every expectation that you could from an Eagles drafted wide receiver that like was promised to be the stop of all the crap, and he was. He's just. I'm amazed at how good he is. So please continue doing that. Yeah,
so much fun. So yeah, I love that guy.
Taylor Kredatus, anything else before we get on out of here?
I was going to say there's the 2 A.J. Brown touchdowns that could have happened tonight also. Obviously the Penning holding one, and then the no call pass interference.
Yeah.
On the second one.
Totally
what was
PI.
that?
Totally PI.
So I mean the plays are there. They just didn't count.
Yeah, and those will start dropping in eventually. I'm concerned about the offense moving forward. Hopefully, I'm so wrong on that, and these are all just the Brian Johnson willies that Vince Quinn is telling me to get over. So we will do that. We'll celebrate being 2-0. We'll mock the rest of the NFL over the weekend. And Vince Quinn, anything else before we go?
No, that's all I got. It's late. I'm old. I'm tired. Let's go.
Go Birds. See you guys.